Hi there and welcome back with Real Talk Fitness with ANPT. I'm your host, Ashley Cummins. For those of you who don't know, I'm a busy mum of two energetic boys, a business owner, and also a wife to Stephen Cummins. And also, I'm myself, right? I also have my own goals and my own desires in both fitness and self-development journey. So today's episode, I really feel like it hits home in terms of self-confidence versus self-worth and how they are so different. So we live in a world where confidence is constantly talked about, but most people don't actually understand the difference between confidence and self-worth, because confidence is built through action, but self-worth, that comes from what you believe you deserve when nobody is clapping for you. In today's episode, we unpack why people chase validation, the difference between confidence and worth, why some people look confident but secretly hate themselves, how breaking promises to yourself destroys self-trust, why discomfort is necessary for growth, the fear of judgment and being seen, why your identity becomes attached to your job, body, or achievements, how comparison can slowly disconnect you from yourself, learning to build confidence, and why you are worthy before you achieve the goal. This episode is honest, raw, reflective, and probably something a lot of people need to hear, because confidence isn't something you magically wake up with. It's built every time you do the thing you're scared of. So what is confidence? Let's dive in. Confidence is belief in your ability. It's earned through evidence. So nobody starts off confident. Confidence comes after repetition. So let's look at kids. Kids naturally build confidence because they fail without judgment. When they learn to walk, when they learn to talk, all those sorts of things, their confidence is built by failing. So you think your way into confidence, right? You do your way into confidence. Every confident person that you look at was once a beginner. Confidence is just reps. So an example, public speaking, me doing these podcasts, I wasn't confident, but after repetition, after, maybe not doing my best, maybe stuttering, maybe not having all of the content that I think, or not being perfect, or whatever it might be. But over time, I built confidence. Now, what is self-worth? Self-worth is deeper. It's what you believe you deserve as a person. Many people only feel worthy when they're achieving something, or they have an achievement addiction, or they seek validation externally. So I feel the misconception here is some people are confident but still don't feel worthy. You can achieve everything and still dislike yourself. Self-worth is who you are without the achievements. So if your worth disappears when you fail, it was never self-worth. Now, things that people don't talk about with self-worth is body image, work identity, fear of not being enough. They're all self-worth, which is so different to self-confidence. You can be confident, but still lack self-worth. So why people stay stuck in this, seesaw, I guess you can say, is the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, or fear of being seen trying and not succeed. They always try and wait until they feel ready, or their comfort zones lowering their confidence. So people aren't scared of failure, they're scared of judgment. And that one really hits home for me, is because I'm not scared to fail. I'm scared of what other people will think if I don't succeed, right? But what's the worst that can happen? The longer you avoid hard things, the smaller your world becomes. Because growth always asks you to be, uncomfortable at first. So overthinking, comparison, social media, not trusting yourself, and breaking promises to yourself are all things that can keep you stuck in this seesaw of lack of self-confidence, but also maybe lacking self-worth. Now, self-trust is everything. Confidence grows from self-trust, but self-trust is built through keeping promises to yourself. So it doesn't matter how big or small these promises are, but if you're constantly breaking promises to yourself, you're breaking your self-trust. And I always like to use the analogy is that if someone said to you they're going to meet you at the gym at 6 a.m. and the first day they didn't show up, the second day you message them and they didn't show up again, would you trust if they told you the next week that they're going to show up? No. So let's flip this. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, you don't do it the first time, and then you tell yourself you're going to do that same thing, are you going to believe that you're going to be able to do it the second time? No, because you've broken that trust with yourself. And self-confidence is self-trust in action, right? Saying you're going to do something and doing it. You're building that trust, which builds your confidence in your ability to do the things. So every promise you break to yourself teaches your brain that you can't trust what it is that you're telling yourself. So if that is, I can achieve my goal, but yet, you might think that that's got nothing to do with the fact that you cancelled on yourself. It's got everything to do with that, because your brain is wired to go, you said that you were going to do this before and you didn't do it. So what makes this any different? And discipline is remembering who you said you wanted to become, right? So it's like all these things, you build self-respect by following through. So examples of that is saying no, your consistency at the gym, setting your boundaries and sticking to them, showing up tired, and, starting your awareness journey. So you're more than your body. That's also a really big one with self-worth, is that people attach their identity to their appearance. And this one really hits home for me. If anybody listened to my episode about body dysmorphia, is that a lot of people attach who they are to how they look. So weight gain and weight loss affecting their worth, their body image. But looking good doesn't equal happiness. Your body is not your value. Your body is something you have, not who you are. You don't become worthy when you lose weight. Muscles don't fix the way you look at yourself. And you can't hate yourself into healing or believing you're worthy. So you're probably thinking, how do I start building both? Like if I don't have self-confidence and, now I'm getting clarity of what self-worth is, maybe I'm lacking that as well. Is that how do you start building both? Is start keeping promises small. Stop waiting until you feel ready, because you're never going to be completely ready. Remember when I said at the beginning here is you've got to fail to succeed. And I've been reading a book and I highly recommend it, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and he interviews all of the most successful people in the world, and all of them failed before they were successful. So Henry Ford, he failed multiple times before he was successful. There were so many people I could rattle off. Let yourself suck at things. Be okay with not being great. Celebrate your small wins. Confidence grows every time you survive something you thought you couldn't. Your life changes the moment you start backing yourself. You become powerful when validation stops controlling you. So I feel that it leads me into, I just need more confidence. Once I lose weight, I'll be confident. Once I find the relationship, I'll be confident. Once I look like her. We spend our whole lives chasing confidence, believing that one achievement is finally going to make us feel enough. But here's the problem. You can build confidence and still feel completely worthless, right? So getting back to that seesaw, the difference between self-confidence and self-worth. You can be successful and still believe you're not enough. So I've met people who have incredible careers, beautiful families, amazing physiques, and outwardly they look like they've got it all together, right? But yet inside they're terrified of failing. They're terrified of disappointing people. They don't think they're enough. there isn't a confidence problem here, but there's a self-worth problem. And in today's episode, I really hope that so far that I've unpacked the difference and got you thinking about different questions, because the problem sometimes isn't confidence, the problem is self-worth. So self-worth has nothing to do with your ability. Self-worth is your belief about your value as a human, and that's huge. Because confidence says, I believe I can do this. Self-worth says, I believe I'm worthy regardless of how this turns out. So if you're confident and you believe you can do something, but you don't believe you're worthy of it, there's the problem. So that's the difference. One is performance, the other is identity. So your self-worth is your identity of what you believe you're worthy of. And so many people have accidentally attached their worth to their performance. And on a personal level, I have very much done that for a long time. That they think that how often we hear people say, I am my job, I am a mum, I am an athlete, I am successful, I am fit. But what happens when that's taken away? If your identity disappears because circumstances change, were you ever connected to yourself? This is a huge one that I've been working through personally for the last 7 months, is take away the confidence and take away those labels. Is, do I believe I'm worthy as a person? And then you can fall into achievement addiction, which I 100% have been there. Is once I hit this business goal, once I run this 10 kilometers at this time, I can finally relax. I can finally feel proud. I can finally feel enough. But here's what actually happens, and this is brutal, is that when you hit the goal, you're excited, maybe a day, maybe a week. Then your brain creates another target, another mountain, another finish line. And this is called the arrival fallacy, the belief that happiness lives somewhere in the future. And you know what? That is fucking exhausting, because that's where I have been. Because you're constantly moving those goalposts. So one of my very first episodes is I spoke about I'll be happy when. And I spoke about that treadmill that we're on, is that I'll be happy when. But in reality, 20 years can go by and you know what? You haven't actually been happy because you're not in the moment. So if you haven't yet done so, 100% recommend going back to that episode and listening to I'll be happy when, to get yourself off that hamster wheel. So there is something that we don't talk about enough, is that self-confidence and self-worth and how they are working together, but they're so different. Yet I think the biggest problem in today's world is that we've all outsourced our self-worth, right? So nothing to do with self-confidence now, about our self-worth. We ask everyone else to tell us who we are. Our partner to tell us that we're enough, or our family to approve that we're doing a good job. And then when we don't, we question ourselves. But think about this. If someone else can give you confidence, someone else can take it away. And that's dangerous. But now you're putting your self-worth and your emotional well-being depending on someone else's opinion. Real self-worth is learning to clap for yourself, even when nobody else notices. It's knowing your effort matters. It's choosing integrity. But it also starts with knowing who you truly are and loving yourself for completely you. Now, the self-confidence thing, breaking promises to yourself, is that I honestly believe this is the biggest reason people lose confidence, is not because they fail at things, it's because they stop trusting themselves. Now, awareness is the first part of change. Yet, if you're not willing to be aware that this could be happening in the background, we're not yet willing to make the change. So think about how many promises we make. I'll go for a walk tomorrow. I'll stop drinking. I'll prep my meals. I'll apply for that job. Then tomorrow comes. Nothing changes. One broken promise, that doesn't matter. But hundreds, your brain starts creating a story. I don't follow through. I always quit. I never finish anything. Eventually, you stop believing in yourself. Now, this is all happening subconsciously. And again, going back to that scenario, imagine having that friend who constantly said they'd show up, but they never did. Eventually, you wouldn't trust them. And that's exactly how many people treat themselves. Confidence is built by keeping the smallest promises. Drinking the water, going for the walk, showing up for the class, doing the workout, even if it's not perfect. Now, going back to self-worth, comparison is the biggest thief of this. Is that we've never had more access to other people's lives than what we do now. On social media, is that every scroll is another opportunity for you to compare. Someone's leaner, someone's happier. But here's what we forget. We're comparing our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight. No one posts the anxiety, the arguments, the debt, the tears, the failure, the loneliness. Social media isn't fake, but it's filtered. And if you're constantly measuring yourself against everyone else, you'll never appreciate how far you've come. But here's the good news, right? I hope that I've made it clear in terms of the difference between self-confidence and self-worth. You can have great self-confidence with no self-worth. You can have self-worth with no confidence. But when you have the two, you are completely unstoppable. Both confidence and self-worth can grow. Confidence grows through evidence. So remember, building your trust within yourself. But self-worth grows through acceptance. Practical things. Keep one small promise to yourself every day. Celebrate effort, not just outcomes. Spend time with people who don't make you earn your value. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to your child or your best friend. Accept that being bad at something is part of becoming good. The goal isn't to become fearless. The goal here is to trust yourself enough to keep moving when fear is there. And that's a wrap for today's episode of self-worth versus self-confidence. If there's one thing I want you to take away today, it is you don't have to earn your worth. You've always had it. Your job, your body, your achievements, your bank account, your relationships, none of these determine your value. They're things you have and not who you are. Confidence will come and go throughout your life. There will be seasons where you feel unstoppable and seasons where you question yourself. That's normal. But self-worth, that's the foundation. When you know your worth, failure becomes feedback. Rejection becomes redirection. Setbacks become lessons instead of proof that you're not enough. So today, I want you to stop asking yourself whether you're confident enough and ask yourself something much more important. Do I believe I'm worthy even before I achieve the next goal? Because the answer to that question has the power to change your life. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Real Talk Fitness with ANPT. If this episode's resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you've enjoyed it, leave a review. It helps this message reach more people. And until next time, remember, confidence is built through action, self-worth is built through acceptance. And both grow when you decide that you're already enough to begin.